Tom had always been a man of his word, even when his sword carried the burden of a ridiculous and a nonsensical and horrible trait. Some may argue, and yes, to most standards it was admirable, but the day he honored what he had promised, all I could think of was the bloodshed he had left in the wake of his actions. Hundreds, if not thousands, of men died, our old minister dismembered, his wife and children missing. It filled me with dread and unbecoming of a man who had chosen the path of the friendly and unbothered. It made me sick to my stomach and derailed my thoughts and the roads my mind had never dared to venture in. And it was all because I knew that I had been in Tom's mind before, during, and after he had committed those erotic actions. I was not the motor that drove him. That much I knew. He had always been an odd, yes, he spoke of tyrannical feats with a scary determination, but we were young back then, and so I chose to believe the veil of immortality covered all conversations, and what hid underneath such a veil could never be serious. Despite all things, when the news of my new role was announced, and later on when I was called to his office, I didn't oppose. He was so young still. No, we were so young. Reckless, barely graced our faces. We had heads full of hair, and the slight innocence of those who had grown to discover the world was a game of pretending around the edges of our eyes. On this situation and our uniform established a counterpoint. Without those, nothing had changed. We were still the same boys who daydreamed about a different world without understanding the one we lived in, and got nervous around the girls that we liked, or so I wanted to believe. John, Tom said, raised from the chair behind his large desk, or should I say General Barrows. I smiled, bloomed on his face. I promise is a promise, old friend. He came to me, held a salute, and then gazed my shoulders with affection. I'm glad to see you well. It's been a long time. Likewise to you. I hesitated. Gentlemen, you can retire. You leave me and the General Barrow alone, he said, and the guards escorted me left the room. John, you can call me Tom. No need for formalities. It's only necessary when others are around. Otherwise, the other men may gain confidence and forget the hierarchies and such things. He shook his head. Such things are dangerous and way too costly. Anyways, how have you been? I know I disappointed after graduation, but as you can see, I've been justifiably busy. I can see that, yes, I have been well, chose the path of boredom, wife, family, stable job. Well, perhaps not so stable after all, I faint and smirked. Tom sat on the edge of his desk and crossed his arms. A stable job is a bit of an anxious morality in this economy. Don't you think this country is full of overstaffed companies, baking on the producing of what was harvested in the past. One day your boss praised you, and the next the currency collapsed, and you left naked with a half-filled box. I guess there's some truth to that, I said, scratching the back of my head. Some truth, Tom snapped, and the truth, our government has overflown with economy, with worthless bills, tricking the people into believing all things will be well. And then he slammed his hand on the desk. Taxes go up, prices go up. Jobs are not stable anymore. And those that can be obtained pay jack shish. Then people can't afford what their own's good. And those that struggled are left to starve on the street, slaves to the goodwill of other similarities who deep down now will soon be hungry. They were killing us entirely and slowly. He drew a deep breath and met my eyes, so I killed them directly and quickly. I nodded but remained silent. The ease I felt when I entered the room shattered. I was mumbling, pretending, not him. He knew what he was doing, and he knew it with terrifying delusion, certainly. He laughed, licked his lip, and started pacing across the room. He seemed furious. The world is a corrupt place, John. Not entirely, but the structures we have set rules. It's unruled by corrupt individuals. We live in a panoptical, each one of us a prisoner of a system that sees it and controls it all. He paused, but that will change today. We had decapitated one of the watchtowers, a small one, yes, but soon we will decapitate many more. More, I asked. What are you planning on doing? He turned to me. Don't you remember? The same day I promised you will be my general. Was the day I told you I would one day rule the world. And here we are, step closer to that day. Soon other nations will condemn our actions, implement sanctions, and much more. But we will not be praised. We will move, and we will do so fast, like lightning. And to help me achieve those things, I need you, General Barrows. Are you up to the task? This time it was me who drew a deep breath. Yes, of course. I am up to the task, I said and saluted. Good, he smiled and took a cigar from a drawer. You want one? No, thank you. I will have one if you don't mind. And anyhow, you mentioned a wife and children before I went into my political rant. When will I meet them? You're welcome at my house whenever. Tomorrow night? Pasta? I let out a smile laugh. Old habits never die. Sure, we'll gladly have you. He sat back on his chair. I will be there. You can go now. Talk with the generals and Nails. He will instruct you in our plans moving forward. And your duties. He met my eyes once again. It was nice seeing you, John. Honestly, I missed you. It was nice seeing you as well, Tom. I said and left. Later that day, when my wife sleeping quietly beside me, I forbid slumber from getting to me, and pondered for a long while once again My mind veered towards untraveled roads. My gaze drifted, time and time again, to the drawer of my basement table. There is substance, silence, the cold steel rested on a pillar of wood. I signed how many lives could be saved. I turned to my life, but at what cost? Tomorrow he will come.